Kahamora Sarututa Kasanata Raghunatha Patita Raghunatha Patita Kahamora Bhatta Yuga Kakalira Kahamora Bhatta Yuga Kakalira Kali Kota Kela Koranatara Etta Kali Kota Kela Koranatara Pasyani Pratibo Mata Anani Pasibo Pasyani Pratibo Mata Anani Pasibo Goranga Gonirani Kota Kelaka Kata kelakado Sabasangira sange dikulyo mila Sabasangira sange dikulyo mila Sisangana kaya kande nara samada Isangana Paya Kande Narasamada Nila Pramadana Karuna Tatya Jaya Vaishnava Tako Jaya Vaishnava Tako Vaishnava Tako Jaya Vaishnava Tako. He brought the treasure of divine love and who is filled with compassion and mercy. Where is such a personality as Srinivasacharya gone? Someone else?
Where are my Swarup Damodar and Gopala? Where is Sanatan? Where is Raghunatha, the Savior of the fallen? Where are my Raghunatha Bhatta and Gopala Bhatta? And where is HG Garuda? Where did Lord Govinda, the great dancer, suddenly go?
I will smash my head against the rock and enter into the fire. Where will I find Lord Govinda, the reservoir of all wonderful qualities?
We now also obtain the association of Lord Govinda and accompanied by all good association he responds to trust and Dhammadas
Today is the disappearance of Srila Gopala Bhatta Goswami, Sri Raghunatha Goswami. So we can have a little talk about them. So first we can talk about Sri Gopala Bhatta Goswami. When Lord Chaitanya was traveling in South India, he spent some time in a place called Sri Rangam, which is the main place for the worshippers of the members of the Sri Sampradaya. So this is a place where we can find the beautiful form of the deity Sri Raghunatha. And it's the headquarters of famous acharyas such as Ramanuja Acharya, Yamunacharya. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to this place when he was traveling. We know that Lord Chaitanya, he traveled all over India, from the mountains to the oceans. And he turned to this congregational chanting into a mass movement. And it was seen there was hundreds and thousands of people just chanting and dancing through the towns, streets and villages, caught up in this tidal wave of ecstatic emotion. So Lord Chaitanya, when he was in South India, he came to this place. And he was dancing and chanting ecstatically before the beautiful deity of Sri Raghunatha. So at that time, there was a great Brahmana named Venkanta Bhatt. And he saw the Lord dancing and chanting, and he was so attracted. And he begged, he pleaded with the Lord that now it's coming up for the 4 months of Chaturmasya. And generally with the traveling sannyasis and the sadhus, during this time, they just stop traveling. They just stay in one place and they just do their bhajan, just chanting and hearing Krishna guitar and performing austerities. So he begged the Lord, for this 4 months, please, you just stay in my home. Therefore, he begged the Lord to remain with him. And the Lord agreed. And he came to their home, and this special Brahmana, Venkata Bhatt, he washed the Lord's lotus feet, and he drank that water, and he also distributed it to his family members. At this time, he had a 7-year-old son named Gopala Bhatta. And when Gopala Bhatta drank that water that had washed the Lord's lotus feet, he began to weep in ecstatic love, and he fell to the ground in ecstasy. And from that day on, he was just completely, transcendentally infatuated with love for Krishna. And he couldn't give up the association of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Day and night, this little Gopal Bhatta, this 7-year-old boy, he would just remain very close to the Lord. He was so much attached to Lord Chaitanya out of love. And of course, this was very pleasing to Gopal Bhatta's father. He encouraged his son to serve the Lord in most wonderful and menial ways, day and night. However, one day, this young boy, Gopal Bhatta, he began to feel despondent. He was thinking, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he's Krishna himself, the Lord of Radha. Why has he taken this vow of sannyas? Why is he living the life of an ascetic, performing so many severe austerities? Then this little boy, Gopal Bhatta, he was thinking, why is it that I am so sinful and unfortunate that I did not see the Lord when he was in Navadvip? In his Navadvip Leela, when he was married to the goddess of fortune, when he had beautiful long blackish hair, wonderful golden dhoti. Why did the Lord have to take sannyas, such a harsh and lonely life? So Gopal Bhatta was thinking like this, and in this mood, actually he would weep day after day after day. Then one day, while he was weeping, he fell asleep, and Lord Chaitanya appeared to him in that Navadvip form, with his long blackish hair, wearing his yellow dhoti, looking very charming and very effulgent. So in this spiritual vision, Gopal Bhatta saw the whole of Navadvip before his eyes. And he saw Lord Chaitanya. He was walking down the streets of Navadvip with his eternal associates such as Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu. And in this spiritual vision, Gopal Bhatta saw himself walking beside Lord Chaitanya through the streets of Navadvip. And soon after, he woke up from that dream, from that spiritual vision, and he immediately got up out of his bed and he ran to that place where Lord Chaitanya was sitting, and he just fell down at his lotus feet. However, when he looked up, Lord Chaitanya had actually transformed himself into the beautiful form of Lord Krishna, with his bluish complexion, playing his transcendental flute. And then the Lord, with his beautiful lotus eyes, was just glancing lovingly at this little boy, Gopal Bhatta. And little Gopal Bhatta, he was just stricken with transcendental love. Then that form of Krishna, once again, he transformed himself into Navadvip Chandra, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as he appeared in Navadvip as a householder, married to the goddess of fortune, with his long curling dark black hair decorated with beautiful jewels. Gopal Bhatta, he just became overwhelmed with love. He just fell at the Lord's lotus feet And when he lifted his head again to look up at the Lord had once again resumed the form of a sannyasi. Then the Lord just lifted this little boy, Gopal Bhatta, up on his lap, and he just began to soak him with tears of love. And Gopal Bhatta, in reciprocation, began to soak the Lord with his tears of love. And then the Lord Chaitanya began to instruct this little boy, Gopal Bhatta. He told him, "You should go to Vrindavan and associate with my two intimate devotees, Srila Rupa and Sri Sanatana Goswami, who are writing all these precious literatures on Vaishnava, literatures on the Vedic philosophy. And in the course of time, you will grow up and you'll become a guru, and you'll have many transcendental disciples, and who will distribute these books of the Goswamis far and wide." But then he instructed him, "At this time, you should stay home with your parents, because these parents of yours are great Vaishnavas. So you must humbly and faithfully just serve them. And after they leave this world, you may go to Vrindavan, and all your desires will be fulfilled." Yes. So Gopal Bhatta, he followed Lord Chaitanya's instructions. He stayed home. He faithfully and obediently served his mother and father. And during this time, a great devotee, Prabhu, he was a great Brahmana scholar. He came and he initiated Gopal Bhatta. And Gopal Bhatta, he studied the Vedic literatures under him. And soon Gopal Bhatta, he also became a famous scholar himself. And he would give classes, and each and every class he would give, he would simply glorify the mercy and glory of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he would just explain in his lectures how devotion to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was the conclusion of all Vedic knowledge. Because Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was non-different to that of Radha and Krishna. So the years passed by, then one day, Gopal Bhatta's parents, they came to him and they reminded him of Lord Chaitanya's desire that he should go to Vrindavan and take shelter of Rupa and Sanatana. So after giving him this reminder, they soon gave up their life heirs, returned to the Lord's abode. Then Gopal Bhatta set off on his journey to Vrindavan. And when he arrived in Vrindavan, all the Vaishnavas were so happy to see him. And soon after, Gopal Bhatta, he accepted the dress of an ascetic. They used to wear that little loincloth and perform the austerities. And soon after his arrival, Rupa and Sanatana, they sent a message to Lord Chaitanya, explaining that Gopal Bhatta had arrived safely in Vrindavan, and what a wonderful devotee he was. And Lord Chaitanya was so happy, and he began to extol the glories of Gopal Bhatta. And out of his love for Gopal Bhatta, he sent some wonderful gifts to Gopal Bhatta, and these gifts, Gopal Bhatta, he was so overjoyed that he treasured these gifts for his entire life. So when Gopal Bhatta was in Vrindavan, he would narrate to all the devotees there the wonderful and amazing pastimes of Lord Chaitanya in South India. Because all the devotees, they knew nothing of these leelas. But because Gopal Bhatta was from South India and he witnessed all these leelas, he was able to share them with the devotees there in Vrindavan. Then one day, this very wealthy devotee came to Vrindavan, and he gave all this beautiful jewelry and crowns and flutes to the Goswamis, because the Goswamis, they were worshipping their Radha Krishna deities in their different temples. At that time, Gopal Bhatta, he wasn't worshipping Radha Krishna deities. He had these 12 shalagram shilas, which he used to place in a cloth and carry them round his neck. And he worshipped these deities with great love. But now, he was given all this jewelry and these beautiful crowns, and he was feeling a little unhappy because he had no deity to decorate with these crowns with. So he prayed to the Lord that, my dear Lord, if you desire, please let me serve you in your threefold beautiful bending form of Shama Shundra. What happened? Something very miraculous. The next morning, when he came to do his shalagram worship, he saw that one of his shalagram shilas, his Damodar Shila, had transformed into a beautiful form of Krishna. He was just a small little Krishna, about 12 inches high. And he was just incredibly enchanting. Very beautiful form of Krishna had manifest from this shalagram shila. We know the shalagram is the rocking stone incarnation of the Lord. Gopal Bhatta was just amazed. He immediately bowed down. He offered wonderful prayers to this beautiful little deity. A news spread, and many Vaishnavas came. Rupa and Sanatan came to get the darshan. Everyone was struck with wonder how Krishna had just manifested this beautiful little form out of the shalagram shila. And on that day of his appearance, Gopal Bhatta, he named this little beautiful form of Krishna Radha Damodar. Radha Raman. And everyone, when you go to Vrindavan, that Radha Raman temple is still there. And that Radha Raman means one who gives the greatest pleasure to Srimati Radharani. So on this day of his appearance, all the Vaishnavas in Vrindavan had a wonderful festival to celebrate the appearance of Radha Raman. And, Gopal Bhatta, he lived in the association of the Vrindavan Gaudiya Vaishnavas for many long years, and he assisted in the writings of Srila Hari Bhakti Vilas and many other different scriptures. In this way, he was always assisting the devotees in their many services, especially Srila Rupa and Sanatana Goswami. Not only in writing books and deity worship, but also establishing lost holy places of Vrindavan and building temples in Vrindavan. And Gopal Bhatta, he was a deeply learned scholar. He had many highly qualified disciples. And one of these disciples was named Gopinath Pujari, who surrendered his life to serving his guru, Gopal Bhatta, and also Gopal Bhatta's deity, Radha Raman. there was another disciple too, a younger brother of Gopinath Pujari named Damodar. And to this day, this is 500 years later, the descendants of Damodar, they do all the puja there for Radha Raman. And so to this day, they established a very, Gopal Bhatta established a very high standard of worship to those deity, that beautiful deity of Radha Raman. And to this day it is said that Radha Raman has never missed an offering, and all his precious jewelry and gold and various paraphernalia that had been offered to the deities by so many famous kings and wealthy donors and people over the centuries, not a single thing has been lost. So 500 years, this worship has been very carefully preserved there in Vrindavan. And Gopal Bhatta Goswami himself, he wanted to preserve this high standard of worship. And he personally organized all the rules and regulations of how the deity should be worshipped. And he arranged for this line of descendants of his disciples to take responsibility to preserve that worship for all time to come. And actually Srila Prabhupada told his disciples that in all the Vrindavan, the Radha Raman Temple is the best and most devotional worship of the deities. So, we can understand that there are different varieties of rasa amongst great Vaishnavas. So Gopal Bhatta was such a great personality in every possible way. And he was just so humble. He never wanted any credit for anything he did. He always just wanted to be known and seen as someone behind those persons who will be behind great devotees. He just always wanted to be seen and feel himself as a humble servant of the servant of the servant of the great devotees who were the servants of Krishna. Even when the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Krishnadas Kaviraj, approached Gopal Bhatta for his blessings to write Chaitanya Charitamrita, Gopal Bhatta agreed on one condition, that his name would not be mentioned in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So although Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami described the glories of the Goswamis in Vrindavan in his Chaitanya Charitamrita, he respected Gopal Bhatta's wish and carefully avoided his unlimited glories of Gopala Bhatta Goswami. Jai Shila Jai Gopal Bhatta Goswami ki Jai. So also it's the disappearance day of Raghunatha Goswami. Raghunatha Das Goswami was born in a village named Sri Krishnapur into a very wealthy family. And, who would be, you could say, compared to today's standards, would be multi-millionaires. So that despite their vast wealth, Raghunatha's father and brothers were very sincere Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. So right from a very early age, Raghunatha Das had so much natural devotion for the Lord. He was an ocean of transcendental qualities. And at a very young age, he had the fortune to meet the great Vaishnava saint, Namacharya Haridas Thakur, who was living in a cave. And sometimes he was living under a tree. And, Haridas Thakur was the nominee. He was constantly chanting the holy name, 190 rounds a day. And he would not even eat, sleep, or drink water before he had completed his chanting. So, although he was only a small boy, Raghunath Das would regularly go and meet Haridas Thakur. And due to that transcendental association, Raghunath, despite living as a young prince surrounded by so much opulence in a huge palace, he had no attachment for any materialistic things of this world. Unfortunately, he was the only child of his father who had big plans for him to take over and manage his family business, become a great landholder and tax collector. So they married Raghunath Das to a very beautiful, chaste young lady, and they gradually started training him to take over this family empire. They gave him a beautiful home, a great palace, so much wealth and so much prestige. Although Raghunath, he had no concern for such things. Then when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Shantipur after taking sannyas, Raghunath Das came to meet him for the first time. And he stayed there for 10 days with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Then after that, when Raghunath Das went home, he had no interest whatsoever in worldly things. He simply wanted to go and live in Jagannath Puri with Lord Chaitanya and his associates. And he was just constantly meditating on this. And sometimes he would try and escape. He would try and leave home. Then his parents would send out their servants to bring him back home. Then the next time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Shantipur, Raghunath was given permission by his father to go and see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But when the father sent him to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he sent also many guards to guard him, just in case he tried to run off and become a renunciate. Raghunath Das, he came before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and revealed to him his deep desire that I just want to leave all family encumbrances and surrender my life to you. Lord Chaitanya, he told him, he instructed him, just go home, perform your duties, but in your heart you should always be meditating on Krishna. And very soon Krishna will show his mercy upon you. Then one day later, Lord Nityananda came to a village of Panihati. Once again, Lord Raghunath Das was given permission by his father to once again go and get the darshan of Lord Nityananda. And once again, Raghunath was accompanied by many guards and servants to watch over him. When Raghunath Das arrived there, and he saw Lord Nityananda in the distance, worshipped by all surrounded by his followers, he offered obeisances from a distance. However, he was spotted by Lord Nityananda's servants, who called out, "There is Raghunath Das, offering obeisances from a distance." And Lord Nityananda personally came towards Raghunath Das and he placed his lotus feet on Raghunath Das's head, gave him the dust of his lotus feet. Nityananda said, "Why are you keeping your distance? You are hiding just like a thief. Therefore, since I have captured you as a thief, you must be punished. You are a wealthy man's son. You must feed all my associates with chip rice and yogurt. So this is the Panihati festival. Raghunatha was very happy to be given this service. He immediately went to town and he made all arrangements, purchasing hundreds of earthen pots and chip rice and yogurt and milk and sweetmeats and sugar and bananas and so many other edibles. And soon word spread and so many people came to participate in this wonderful festival. We celebrated that festival recently. And they had that beautiful festival. So Raghunatha, he after this festival, he returned home, and before he left, Nityananda, he smiled and he told all the devotees, please bless Raghunatha, that he may get the shelter and the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very soon. And then Nityananda said to Raghunatha, rest assured that in the near future, Raghunatha, Lord Chaitanya will accept you and you will become the most confidential, internal servant of the Lord. So Raghunath Das, he returned home and he began thinking. He was living there like a royal prince. I mean, he was a multi-millionaire. He had living in this big palace. He had so many servants, beautiful, opulent foodstuffs. He had a beautiful wife. He had everything that anyone would ever want. But he was just thinking various means by which he could escape. And he wanted to just go and just live as a mendicant, as a renunciate, as one of Lord Chaitanya's associates. Then one night, by the Lord's mercy, he had by chance, he got his opportunity and he took off. He escaped from the palace while everyone was sleeping, and he traveled through the jungles. He traveled 30 miles a day, begging a little food or milk from the villages. And in 12 days, he finally reached Jagannath Puri, where he was embraced by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who told him, the mercy of Krishna is stronger than anything else. Therefore the Lord has delivered you from the ditch of materialistic life. By his own will, Krishna has delivered you from such a condemned way of life. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned to his most personal associate, Swarup Damodar, and he said, I want you to take care of Raghunath Das. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu turned to his servant Govinda and had him bring some Jagannath Prasadam to feed Raghunath Das, who had hardly eaten for 12 days. So after bathing in the sea, Raghunath Das returned and he ate the remnants of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Jagannath Prasadam. However, after some days of accepting such remnants, he stopped. He began sitting outside the Jagannath Temple with the beggars, and he started begging some food from the passers-by. And sometimes the pujaris would give little bits of food to the beggars there. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very pleased to see this. And Raghunath Das, he just became constantly immersed in chanting the holy name and serving the Vaishnavas. And he was so humble that generally he would not even speak directly to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He would do it either through Swarup Damodar or Govinda, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's servant. But one day Raghunath Das, he came before Swarup Damodar and he said that I want to get some personal instructions from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu about my service in life. So Swarup Damodar he went to Lord Chaitanya and he said, Raghunatha has a question. He says that he has given up worldly existence, but he does not know why. He does not know what now is his duty in life, now that he's renounced the world. So Lord Chaitanya, he called Raghunatha there, and he began to instruct Raghunatha in the duties of one in the renounced order of life. So Lord Chaitanya told him, do not speak mundane topics like people in general of this world, and do not hear what they say. Also, do not eat luxurious foods. Also, do not dress very nicely. Also, you should always offer respects to others, but you must not expect honor in return. Also, you should constantly chant the holy name of the Lord, and in your mind you should always meditate upon serving Radha and Krishna in the forest of Vrindavan. These are the duties of one in the renounced order of life. You know, one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu received a gift of a Govardhana Shila from one devotee from Vrindavan. And he would wear this shalagram, this Govardhana Shila around his neck, and he personally worshipped this Govardhana Shila for 2 years with so much love and devotion. And because of his love for Raghunath Das, because Raghunath Das was so dear to Chaitanya, he personally entrusted this Shila to Raghunath Das and instructed him how to worship him. And he told Raghunath Das that by this worship, he would very soon achieve Krishna's special mercy. So, you know, at this time, you know, as time went on, Raghunath Das began to increase his level of renunciation more and more. And soon after, rather than begging for bits of Jagannath Prashadam at the temple gates with the beggars, he would go to that place where the unsold Jagannath Prashadam was thrown out for the cows. Sometimes such leftover foodstuffs would even start to go rotten. However, Raghunath Das would humbly go there at night, collect some of that food. He would wash it, add a little salt, and eat it. And this was all he would eat. And only the Lord in his heart, could see what kind of renunciation he was performing. He kept it hidden. In this way, Raghunath Das lived in Jagannath Puri for 16 years, and he was so much loved by all the Vaishnavas there. However, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu disappeared from this world, and Swarup Damodar soon after left this world, Raghunath Das was so heartbroken. He decided that there was no longer any reason for him to live. So he decided, I will go to Vrindavan, visit all the holy places, then I would jump from the highest peak of Govardhana Hill and kill myself. However, when he arrived in Vrindavan, he soon met Rupa and Sanatan, who encouraged him to stay with them in Vrindavan and daily narrate to them about the glorious pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Jagannath Puri. So Raghunath Das, he took up residence on the bank of Radha Kund, where he was just constantly immersed in the ecstasy of love and devotion to Lord Chaitanya and Radha and Krishna, and all the Vrijbasis just worshipped and loved Raghunath Das. And here in Vrindavan, he would bow down to the Lord at least 1,000 times a day. He would chant the holy name minimal 100,000 times. Other times 200,000, 125 rounds a day. And for 3 hours a day he would speak on the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he would also bow down to the Vaishnavas. A minimum, he would bow down to 2,000 Vaishnavas a day. So he would just daily sit by the Radhakund lake with his eyes closed, just chanting the holy name of the Lord constantly. So there was one very miraculous pastime that took place. You know, one day Sanatana was Raghunath Das was just sitting there chanting with his eyes closed. And one day Sanatana Goswami came there to visit him. And he saw that by that lake, right near where Raghunath Das was chanting, some tigers were drinking water there. Very dangerous. You know, the tigers there, it was a common thing that sometimes these tigers would eat the sadhus. So, you know, Raghunath Das was just sitting there. There was a whole group of tigers there, just drinking from that lake, right near where Raghunath Das was sitting. And then Sanatana saw Krishna there with a stick in his hand, guarding Raghunath from the tigers. On another occasion, Sanatana came there in the middle of summer. At that time, we know that in Vrindavan the sun is just blazing hot, like fire. And so, you know, Raghunath Das was just sitting there by Radhakund in this blazing heat, chanting his rounds with his eyes closed. And then Sanatana Goswami, he noticed that the most worshipable Srimati Radharani was standing next to Raghunath Das, giving him shade with the top of her sari. And she was standing there in the hot sun, perspiring from the hot sun. And Raghunath Das was just completely unaware of her presence. So later Sanatana, he approached Raghunath Das and he explained what he saw. And he told Raghunath Das that we should not accept Radha and Krishna to serve us. We're supposed to serve them. They are coming from their own leelas to protect and serve you. This is not the spirit of Lord Chaitanya's teachings. So, on Sanatana Goswami's request, a small hut was built and Raghunath Das would perform his bhajans there. So Raghunath Das is declared by the acharyas to be the prayojana guru for our sampradaya. Prayojana means the ultimate goal of pure, unmotivated love for Radha and Krishna as a servant of their servants. To be a servant of the servant of the servant of Srimati Radharani, the most beloved of Lord Krishna. So Raghunath Das was in that mood. He just wanted to please the associates of Srimati Radharani and assist them in their devotion to Krishna. And of course Raghunath Das was one of the manjaris, one of the young, his eternal position was that of a young maidservant who were the best young girls who had very intimate services in Goloka Vrindavan, serving the divine couple Radha and Krishna. So finally, when he left this world, he returned and took up his position there in the spiritual world, in Radha and Krishna's inner circle of intimate servants. Jai Shri Raghunatha Goswami ki jai. Shri Gopala Bhatta Goswami ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Guru Premanand. Hare Krishna.